Heart disease is still the #1 killer worldwide. And yet, so many people think that simply avoiding meat keeps them safe. But here's the truth. Being vegetarian doesn't automatically guarantee a healthy heart. What actually protects or harms your heart has more to do with the quality of your food, the balance of nutrients you eat, and how those choices quietly shape your arteries, blood pressure, and cholesterol over time. Today, we're breaking down the real science of vegetarian heart health. What truly works, what doesn't, and a few surprising truths most people never hear. Vegetarian diets, when they're well planned, have been linked to a lower risk of heart disease and high blood pressure. And this isn't hype. It's backed by decades of research and large population studies. Plant foods are naturally lower in saturated fat and completely free of cholesterol, two major factors connected to arterial plaque buildup. But that's only part of the story. Plants also bring something powerful to the table: fiber, antioxidants, and phytochemicals that actively protect your blood vessels. Fiber helps lower LDL cholesterol, the bad kind, by binding to it in your digestive system and flushing it out. Antioxidants protect the lining of your arteries from oxidative stress, one of the silent triggers of plaque formation. That's why vegetarians often show lower blood pressure and healthier cholesterol levels than meat eaters. But remember, these benefits aren't automatic. They depend on how you eat, not just what you avoid. Here's something that might surprise you. Vegetarians can still be at risk for heart disease if their diets are filled with refined carbs, fried foods, and ultra-processed snacks. Cutting out meat, but replacing it with white bread, sugary drinks, or processed cheese doesn't protect your heart. In fact, it can make things worse. This is exactly why researchers sometimes find mixed results. A vegetarian diet built on whole foods lowers risk, but a vegetarian diet packed with processed foods can lead to the same problems as any unhealthy diet: obesity, insulin resistance, and high triglycerides. All major red flags for your heart. So the message isn't vegetarian equals healthy. It's this: a whole food vegetarian diet supports heart health. A junk food vegetarian diet does not. One of the most overlooked parts of vegetarian heart health is fat quality. For years, people were told that all fat was bad. But now we know it's not about cutting fat out, it's about choosing the right kinds. Polyunsaturated fats, like those in walnuts, sunflower seeds, and flax, help lower LDL and raise HDL, the good cholesterol that actually helps clean your arteries. Monounsaturated fats, the kind in olive oil and avocados, help calm inflammation inside your blood vessels, making them stronger and less likely to get damaged. Now, contrast that with trans fats, the ones hiding in processed foods and fried snacks. They raise LDL, lower HDL, and dramatically increase your risk of heart disease. Even as a vegetarian, if your meals are full of baked goods or fast food, you're still exposing your arteries to the worst kind of fat. This is where vegetarians who lean on whole nuts, seeds, and olive oil gain a real advantage. Their fats protect the heart, not harm it. Let's talk about protein. Meat is often criticized for its fat and cholesterol, but it's also dense in protein. And when vegetarians cut out meat, the replacement protein matters a lot for heart health. Legumes, lentils, and soy foods deliver protein with fiber and nutrients, something meat doesn't have at all. Protein from dairy and eggs is perfectly valid, but it should be eaten thoughtfully. Diets packed with cheese, for example, can quietly drive up saturated fat and sodium. Research shows that plant proteins don't just feed your muscles. They protect your heart, partly by lowering blood pressure. And when blood pressure stays high, your arteries stiffen, and that accelerates cardiovascular aging. So the takeaway is simple. Not all protein is equal for heart health. Plant-based proteins protect the heart in ways animal proteins simply don't, Heart health also depends on key micronutrients, the small nutrients that make a big difference. And vegetarians are in a great position to get them, if they pay attention. Take potassium, for example. It helps your blood vessels relax and lowers blood pressure. It's abundant in fruits, vegetables, and legumes, foods most vegetarians already love. Then there's magnesium. It supports a steady heartbeat and helps prevent dangerous rhythm issues called arrhythmias. But there's another side to the story. Some nutrients are harder for vegetarians to get enough of. Vitamin B12 is a big one. If levels drop too low, homocysteine builds up in the blood. And that can quietly damage your arteries and raise your risk for heart disease. Omega-3 fatty acids, especially DHA and EPA, help lower triglycerides and calm inflammation, but they're harder to find in plant-based diets unless you supplement with algae oil. So yes, plants deliver an incredible amount of heart protective nutrients. But it's the intentionality that matters. That's what separates vegetarian diets that truly protect the heart from those that leave hidden vulnerabilities behind. Now let's zoom out for a second. Do vegetarians actually have fewer heart attacks and longer, healthier cardiovascular lives? The best evidence says yes, when their diets are built around whole, minimally processed foods. Across large, long-term studies, vegetarians consistently show lower rates of ischemic heart disease than meat eaters. Blood pressure tends to be lower, cholesterol better controlled, and inflammation markers noticeably reduced. But, and this part surprises many people, some studies show little or no difference in stroke risk. Why? Most experts point to nutrient gaps, especially omega-3s and vitamin B12, that can quietly blunt the heart protective effects of a plant-based diet. And that teaches us something important. Vegetarian diets are powerful, but they're not invincible. To get the full benefit, you have to practice vegetarianism consciously, not just by default. So, what's the real truth about vegetarian heart health? It's not a free pass, and it's not a myth. A well-structured vegetarian diet can lower your risk of heart disease, improve cholesterol, reduce blood pressure, and protect your arteries from long-term damage. But here's the key. It all comes down to quality. Whole foods over processed foods, healthy fats over trans fats, plant proteins over cheese-heavy substitutes, and close attention to nutrients like B12 and omega-3s. When those pieces come together, vegetarian diets don't just match traditional heart-healthy diets, they often surpass them. That means fewer heart attacks, less chronic disease, and more years of vibrant, energetic living. Because at the end of the day, heart health isn't about avoiding meat. It's about nourishing your heart with what it truly needs to stay strong for a lifetime. If this video resonated with you, there's so much more waiting for you on Plants Feed the Soul. Tap like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the very next video.